Good evening, everyone, and a good Erev Shabbos, as we welcome you to the segment that we call For the Shabbos Table, which is sponsored by the Rubin family. They give a very benevolent grant for this year, and they ask that we should be mispal, of course, that they should have atzlach and ruchnias and gashmias, and that they should be zeichet to a ben zachar, kein yiratzon. I saw Svas Emes, and the Svas Emes, to me, is so incredible, so incredible. Ani Yosef Achechem, I am Yosef, your brother, Asher mechartem oisi Mitzrayim, that you sold me to Mitzrayim. Says the Svas Emes that by the destruction of the Luchas, when Moshe Rabbeinu broke the Luchas, so it says in the Torah, Asher Shibarta. And the Gemara tells us that the word Asher is a short form for Yeyasher Koichacha Sheshibarta. The Rabbeinu Shalom gave him thanks that he broke it. You see, the Aseret HaDibros had in black and white that the second commandment, that they shouldn't worship idolatry. So if that was in existence, Klal Yisrael would have to be destroyed. When Moshe Rabbeinu broke it, he saved Klal Yisrael. So the Rabbeinu Shalom said, Asher Shibarta, and the Gemara says that Asher is from a lashon of Mu'usher. You should be strengthened. Yeyasher Keichacha Sheshibarta. Thank you that you broke it. Says the Svas Emes, when it says over here, Ani Yosef, I am Yosef, your brother, Asher mechartem oisi Mitzrayim, we're going to darshan that Asher the same way. That Yosef is now telling them, Yeyasher Koichacha, thank you that you sold me to Mitzrayim. Because look what happened. You sold me to Mitzrayim. I became viceroy. Yosef HaTzadik was a viceroy in Egypt for 80 years. It says that it was the longest reign of a Jew. He was a viceroy for 80 years. And he had the opportunity to save Klal Yisrael. Because in a time of famine, he was able to support the Shivim Nafesh, which was Klal Yisrael. So Yosef, one of the reasons why Yosef was given the title of Tzaddik, the title of Tzaddik has two definitions. One is someone who is pit-bait beyitzray. One is someone who combats his passion. And Yosef did that with the wife of Potiphar. And he was also Tzaddik because he was Zonu Mechalkel. He supported as Kol Olam. That's why Noach was called Ish Tzaddik, because he was Zon or Mechalkel as Kol Olam. It's interesting that the Rabbi Elia Lapian says that Noach fulfilled V'alachta b'drachav, Hashem is Peseches Yodecho Mazbiel L'chol Chai Ratzon, and he satisfies all living things. Noach did that in the Teva. He satisfied the whole world. That was the extent of the whole world, was the Teva. So that's why he was called, Noach was an Ish Tzaddik, because he was Zon Mechalkel as Kol Ha'olam. So also Yosef. So why was he able to do this? Because the brothers sold him down to Mitzrayim. So they catapulted him into this opportunity. Now that's a very interesting thing. He's thanking them. They didn't have an intent to do that. They had an intent first to kill him, lowering him into a pit of snakes and scorpions. And then they were selling him into perpetual slavery. But the Sras Emes says that Yosef had the attitude that, let me see, would I have had all of this if they didn't sell me? So the bottom line is they caused me this. So instead of, I pointed out that there's a lot of discussion, what's the hardest mitzvah in the Torah? Some say that the hardest mitzvah is the Pikad Rebbe Eliezer, that the hardest mitzvah in the Torah is Kibbud Av V'Em. The Gra says the hardest mitzvah in the Torah is to be happy all 7 days of Sukkot. Vayisa Ach Sameach. I believe they say over from the Ksav Sofer, that the Ksav Sofer says that the hardest mitzvah in the Torah is Teichacha, to give proper rebuke without making the person your enemy. But I've always felt that the hardest mitzvah in the Torah is Netira. How does a person fulfill Lo Sitar? Here's a person, you are going to get this amazing job. You'd be set for life. No commute, a pension, benefits. And a person who was jealous told the recruiter lies about you. You didn't get the job. And the next 30 years you struggled. How are you not supposed to feel a grudge against the person? How are you not supposed to feel it? Here they lowered him into he was begging them. They stripped his clothing. They sold him into slavery that he didn't see his family for 22 years. How is he not supposed to harbor feelings against them? And Yosef is Megala that instead he took that and he converted it into gratitude. He said, let's see what happened. Let's see what they caused me. We would think that well, I don't know, they didn't cause it to me. But they did. He wouldn't have had it without them. So much so that I wonder if we could say on the same person, Megalgal and Schus al Yidei Chayev, al Yidei Zakai, and Chiyav al Yidei Chayev. There was definitely suffering for Yosef. And therefore, the brothers had to be not worthy that they caused him that suffering, but they also had to be worthy that they caused him that greatness. We find, for example, such a thing by Og Melech HaBashan. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he did battle with Og, he was afraid. Why was he afraid? Because when Lot was taken captive, it says, Vayavai Apolit. Og came and told Avram about Lot so that Avram could save Lot. If Og wouldn't have told him, there were no emails, there was no CNN. It's possible Avram wouldn't have known and they could have killed Lot. And from Lot came David HaMelech. So Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of this schus that Og saved David HaMelech and the future Melech Mashiach. But you'll say, Og didn't mean to do that. Og was, he was from before the flood. And what was the sin of before the flood? They were immoral. Ki hishchiz kol basi, he was immoral too. He had designs on Avram's wife. And he wanted Avram to go to battle and die in battle, and then he would take Sarah. So he didn't have any very praiseworthy motivation. Yet Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid because he looked at what was caused. And let me give you a practical example of this. Your daughter was going out with a boy. And it was very serious. And he was a great boy. Great boy. And it looked like it was just gonna be a home run. And then a neighbor of yours told the boy's family something derogatory about your daughter. Something really not nice. And the shidduch fell through. The boy went ahead. Eventually your daughter got married. The boy got married. And 4 years later, the boy got cancer and died. So the person that told the derogatory news about your daughter saved your daughter from becoming a very young widow. Now, of course, he didn't know that. And he had negative intentions. But instead of, here Yosef is revealing to us that instead of harboring animosity, you saved my daughter from becoming a widow. There are many examples of this. Here's another example. Another example. You applied for a job. And the job was with a $25,000 raise. And you were almost going to really, get it. But somebody came along and grabbed it out of your hands. I mean, it wasn't right. You were there, and somebody came and sweet-talked them and grabbed it out of your hands. Not very ethical. And then you suffered for a year. But then you got a job where you made $300,000. You would have never looked for that job if you got this job with only a paltry $20,000 more. So how do you look at that guy? It wasn't right what he did. But he caused me. It's because of you that I have. This is a technique how instead of harboring natira and a grudge, we should instead convert it because of the person. Let's call a spade a spade. Because of the person, I got this unbelievable job where I'm set for life. And because of this person, my daughter didn't marry a boy who 4 years down the line died. It says in the Parsha that Yaakov, when he saw Yosef, he said an unusual thing. Amusa apam. Now I could die. And it says, Amusa hapam. I will die this time. Achrei ra'isi es panechet. Now that I see you. So Rashi says, what do you mean apam? He says, well, I thought I was going to lose my olam haba. If Yosef would have died, then I thought I would lose my olam haba. I shouldn't have sent him. I knew that there was friction between him and the brothers. I shouldn't have sent him to Shechem. Now I'm not going to lose my olam haba. Almost apam. I'm only going to die now. I see that you're still alive. That's how Rashi learns the unusual terminology. Hapam. Now, this time. The Shalah Kaddish has a fascinating explanation. The Shalah Kaddish says that Yaakov was afraid that if Yosef died, he's going to have to come back as a Gilgal because he didn't fulfill having the 12 Shmatim. So he's going to have to come back another time to have the 12 Shevet. Now that he sees that Yosef is alive, Amus Apam, I'm only going to die once. I'm not going to have to come back again. That's the way the Shalah Kaddish, the Sefer Lisadnim Avosecha, brings down that this is not consistent with that which it brings down that Yaakov came back as a Gilgal and Eiv. to be mechaper for the fact that he was married to two sisters. So you see, he did come back. So then it wouldn't fit in with the Shalosh Amusa Apam. But anyway, that which they say over in the Sefer Don Yodin is very schwer to say that Yaakov came back as a Gilgal. It's brought down that Yaakov Avinu lo meis, even though it does say that some hold that Yaakov came back as a Gilgal Rabbi Akiva. The name Yaakov is embedded in Rabbi Akiva. Anyway, I thought about a different shot in Amusa Hapam. And that is, Yaakov said, while Yosef was not alive, I died every day. Because every day I woke up without the Shekhinah. So it says that for 22 years he was bereft of the Shekhinah because he was mourning over the loss of his son, and Ein HaShekhinah Shayra Ela B'Simcha. So every day was it, why is that a death when you don't have Shekhinah? Because it says, Atem adveikim b'Hashem alikeichem chayim kulchem hayayim. When you're clear with Hashem, you have the Shekhinah, then you're chayim. So Yaakov said every day was death. Now that I see you're alive, the Shekhinah came back. So now Amusa Apam, I'll only have one death when I die. It won't be every day. Later on, I saw that the Klei Yoker says a similar pshat, Baruch Shekivanti, and he says that's why it says when he heard that Yosef was alive, V'techi ruach Yaakov aviyem. Yaakov came alive, because until then it was like death. The Sifurnai says another pshat. The Sifurnai says, what does it mean, Amusa Apam? The Sifurnai says that Yaakov had many serious challenges in his life. For example, Eliphaz came, he was going to kill him. Instead, he took everything from him, so Ani Chashav Kames. So that was a death. His brother Esav tried to kill him. His daughter was raped. There was a lot of hardship in Yaakov's life. When he found Yosef, he said a tefillah, Amusa Hapam, let this be my only death. Let me not have any more tsaras after this. That's what is Sifurna, and it's a good thing to know somebody overcomes a challenge. Amusa Hapam, let this be the last challenge. There's a fascinating some cipher. It says, Yesh lanu av zaken. Yehuda told Yosef, before they knew he was Yosef, Yesh lanu av zaken, we have an elderly father, the Yeled zikunim cotton, and there's a mezinikel, Binyamin, the achiv meis, his brother died, the Vayavasar hu levadai, and this mezinikel, this Binyamin, is left from Le'imai, from his mother Rachel, who his father loved, v'avi v'ahevai, and his father has a special love for him. So he says Yosef is dead. He lied. Now we know Jews don't lie. So Rashi says, Mipnei hayira, because he was afraid, hoitzi dvar sheker mipiv, he said a lie. Because Amar, he said, Im amaloi shukayim, if I say that Yosef is alive, Yaimer have you etzli. He's going to say, bring him to me. So the Chassam Sofer is troubled. The Chassam Sofer says a Jew, one of the Shiftei Ka, would not say an open lie. So similarly, by Yaakov, when he was masquerading as Esav, he said, Ani Esav b'charecha. So Rashi explains, Ani, it is I, and Esav is your b'char. In other words, you could interpret it that it shouldn't be a lie. That it shouldn't be that he should have divrei sheker al piv, because it says, Dover shkarim lo yiken l'neged einai. A person that speaks falsehood won't be in the mechitza of the Rebbeinu Shalom. So the Chassam Sofer says, he says over here also you can interpret Yaakov's words as not a lie, Yehuda's words, as follows. Yesh lanu av zaken. We have a father that's old. V'yeled zekunim katan. And there's a mezinikel, there's a binyamin. And now he goes back to his father. V'achiv meis. My father's brother is like he's dead. Because it's Esav. And Rishayim, afilu b'chayim kruyim meisim. V'yavaser hu levadoi le'imai. And only my father is left for my mother. Because my mother is not Geiris Esav. Even though v'aviv ahevai. My father loves him. My grandfather, my father's father, loves Esav. So he takes the pasuk and he interprets it that it doesn't have to be a lie. It's some cipher. You have to know, this underscores how serious it is to say a lie. You know, most of the things in the Torah, it says, thou shalt not do. Lo sirtzach, you shouldn't murder. Lo sinaf, you shouldn't commit adultery. Right? Lo silbashatnas. But when it comes to lying, it doesn't simply say lo shakru. It says midvar sheker tircha. From a lie distance, that's how terrible a lie is. If you look in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the siman that talks about chinuch, it's a very short siman. You would think chinuch deserves a whole sefer. It's a very short siman. But one thing he says is that if you catch your child lying, that needs severe discipline. That's how critical it is. A Jew shouldn't lie. I always point out that we know Megillas Rus, it was written by Shmuel HaNavi, from the greatest of the great. Now Shmuel HaNavi writes and calls Rus after she was Megaya, Rus HaMayaviyah. Now we know that once somebody is Megaya, you're not supposed to call them from their past. And it's a terrible crime. So why does Shmuel call her still Rus HaMayaviyah? So in Rus Rabbah it asks this question. And it says that when Naomi asked her what happened in the field of Boaz, she said over accurately the truth to Naomi, but she said it out of order. And to Shmuel, that wasn't pure truth. So he was teaching us there's still the Moabite clinging to her. Because if she would be a Jew from birth, she wouldn't be able to veer from the truth at all. A Jew. I was thinking of another way to interpret the words of Yehuda that shouldn't be, that V'achiv Meis was talking about Yosef. But when he said V'achiv Meis, it wasn't a lie because he sold him into slavery. A slave doesn't have any property. Kol ma'asher kana eved kana rabbi. A slave is barren with anything. So he's the most impoverished ani. And an ani is chashiv kameis. So that's what it means, V'achiv Meis. Or, he knew that Yosef was righteous, and he wouldn't marry an Egyptian woman, so all these years Yosef was without children. No hope to get married. So he was chasuchei banim. And it says somebody who's chasuchei banim is chashiv kameis. So that's what it means, V'achiv Meis. For the final thought of this segment, and by the way, I should tell you that I did put on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, a share from 2015 called What is Asara B'Tevis? It's a 25-minute share, so you can check the YouTube channel, Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss, and look at that share, What is Asara B'Tevis, to get an understanding of tomorrow's fast. And you should subscribe to the channel and press like. It says, "Va'anoshim ro'ei tzayin," and the people, they were shepherds. Ro'ei tzayin. Now, why were the Jews shepherds? So one reason is because they took their sheep far away from people's fields, so that they shouldn't be over on gezel, on stealing. And they went into the wilderness, and it gave them time to be mispodate, to think, and to ponder, and to think about Olam Haba and the Rabbeinu Shalom. But it's also brought down they were shepherds because it gave them a chance to do kindness. Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that's the reason he was chosen to lead Klal Yisrael. It says that there was a sheep that was sick, and he saw that he was hot. So Moshe Rabbeinu took the sheep on his shoulders and carried him home. And Hashem said, that's the way you take care of your flock. I want you to take care of my flock. I told you that the name Moshe, Shma Garim, besides the fact that Moshe is the same letters as Hashem, because Leiro Panim El Panim Moshe, nobody saw Hashem like Moshe. The name Moshe is also Miseh, from a sheep, because he was chosen from a sheep. Also, by the way, there's a Rabbeinu Ephraim, Miriam, Tzipora. Let's see the gematria of Tzipora. Tzadik is 90, Pei is 80, that's 170. Reish is 200, that's 370, and Hey is 5, 375, yeah. So the Rabbeinu Ephraim says that Tzipora is begematria Le Moshe. Le Moshe is also 375. It's also in the name. But anyway, we see at Klal Yisrael has a sensitivity even to animals. V'rachamov al kol ma'asav ksiv. The Heilige Klaus and Begerebe, brings down in the Shefa Chaim an amazing Arizal. The Arizal says it was revealed to him. Arizal had so many amazing things revealed to him. It was revealed to him that one of his students was Chayiv Misa. Why? Because he was learning, and he had an egg farm, and the chickens were disturbing his learning. So he removed the ladder from the dovecote, from where they were, so they couldn't come down, so that they couldn't disturb him. And because of that, they went hungry. And they revealed to the Ari, because he caused the chickens pain, he was condemned to die. But Hashem allowed the Ari to reveal it to him so he could put the ladder back and save his life. The way we treat animals, Reb Chaim Pelagi says that it's a big thing to take the crumbs from the challah of the Shabbos meal and take it and feed it to the birds. I used to go with my first Rebbetzin, Miriam Liebe. I used to go to Clove Lake Park and give the crumbs to the birds. And the Reb Chaim Pelagi says those birds go up to the Rabbeinu Shalom and they meilitz yosher on the one who feeds them. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. Jews don't go and scare animals. You see a rabbit, you don't say, shoo. The rabbit is not bothering you. You don't scare an animal. Jews don't do that. Jews don't go in the street and step on ants. We don't allow our children to do that. It's not the Jewish thing to do. We're people of Rachmanis. It's known that the Noid Yehuda said, he was asked about hunting as a sport. And he said, hunting as a sport is the midah of Esav. That's not the midah of Yidden. I know somebody that he goes moose hunting. As a sport. Hunting as a sport is not a Jewish thing. Merachamav al kol ma'asav ksiv. We want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank the Rubin family for making the shir possible, and wish everybody an easy Tanis and a good Shabbos.